Today's episode of The Bitcoin Show is brought to you by Mt. Gox and Thank You Economy Book and MemoryDealers.com. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Bitcoin Show. I'm Bruce Wagner, as I'm sure you know. Today we have a very interesting new Bitcoin venture represented, and it's called Feed the Birds. My guests are Ira Miller and Erick Vorhees, co-founders, right, of Feed the Birds. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for having us, Bruce.
Sure. So, Ira, you're in Denver?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, and Ira, if you don't know, if you don't already know, is involved in many little entrepreneurial ventures, and small and large. BitMunchies is the first major one, and BT Cinch, and a couple other little. You got a lot of projects going on, don't you?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to be done in the Bitcoin world.
And Erick, where are you joining us from?
I'm in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, but I'm from Colorado originally.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
So
but you guys didn't meet in Colorado?
No, it's just a coincidence. I met him at the New York Bitcoin conference a couple months ago.
The Bitcoin conference
in
and
that
World
very
Expo.
office where you are.
Yeah. Oh, right here in the office. Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Great. So, when did this idea of Feed the Birds come about? Who came up with the idea? And when?
I came up with the idea, I think it was about a month ago, and I'm not really a huge Twitter person, but I use it occasionally, and I have like 100 followers. But obviously Twitter has sort of taken over the world in the same way that Facebook did a few years ago, and it's just very fast and quick, and obviously catching on. It has a few hundred million users, and so it just something clicked, and I realized that people advertise through Twitter, and there's various ways of doing it, but none of them are very efficient. And combining Bitcoin and Twitter works really nicely. So when I figured it out, I have absolutely no development experience, so I don't know how to code anything. So I went to Ira because I knew that he was very skilled at this stuff, and he just he liked the idea too, and so he busted it out in a couple weeks of development, and so now it's released in an open beta, and it's less than a month after I think I contacted him about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so and now the idea behind it's Feed the Birds or Z Birds, Feed FEED birds.com, and the idea behind it is basically paid ad tweets. So if you're Twitter. You only have 100 followers. I mean, don't you get more than that when you create a free account? Well, anyway, no, I'm just teasing. But no, when you have
I'll have a few more after today.
I know, I'm just teasing. What is it? At Erick Vorhees?
Yeah, at Erick Vorhees.
Oh, there you go. So you just got 10,000 followers right there. So, but anyway, but the idea is, and I've seen this before a while back, where if you have lots and lots of followers, it's like any other media. You can actually insert an ad, a paid tweet, so you get paid to tweet. I know, like Ashton Kutcher probably would get $10,000 a tweet. I'm sure they would offer him at least that to because you have so many followers. But so advertisers can put in an ad campaign, and what they set the price per tweet or price per view or something.
Yeah, they basically have control over how they want to do it. So. Mm-hmm. Just as in Google's AdWords, where an advertiser can set a budget and they set how much they want to pay per click. Same with Feed the Birds. The advertiser just makes his ad campaign, puts as many Bitcoins in it as he wants. There's no minimum or maximum. And then he sets his CPM, or cost per meal, which in this case is the price he will pay per 1,000 people that see the message. Mm-hmm. So if one Twitter user has 1,000 followers, he will tweet the message to those 1,000, and he gets the full CPM figure, and it's all set by the advertiser. So basically, they can choose how much they want to incentivize people to send out their message.
Okay. So when I'm looking at the site now, and how do I? Is the number up here? And obviously the thing that's unique about this is that it's in Bitcoin. So it's not through dollars and banks and PayPal's and all that stuff. It's actually Bitcoin. So it's much more versatile. You can be in any part of the world and do this without any government or bank's permission or anything else. So is this number up in the corner of each campaign? It says like 0.0909 Bitcoin. Is that the price per 1,000 appearance, or is that the total budget for the campaign?
You want to answer, Ira?
Well, like if I'm looking at the site right now and I see, I guess these are ad campaigns, right? In blue, the number of Bitcoin in blue, what does that represent?
You're on the front page, right, Bruce?
Yeah. Am I the wrong
And you're
page?
logged in?
No, I didn't log in.
If you're not logged in, you're seeing the cost per milli. If you do log in, it will count the number of followers you have and calculate what you would get paid. So I think in your case, you've got about 12,000 followers, so you would get 12 times the cost per mil.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So that's the cost per mil, and then when you're logged in, it'll calculate however many based on your followers. Okay. Cool. Now I did try this the other day. Oh, I didn't tell you, Ed, but I did. I logged in and I took one of these and I tweeted, and I don't know what, I made like $3 or $4 or something, right? For a tweet, yeah. That was my lunch. That was a slice of pizza. That's cool. So,
yeah.
How long has the site been up? So wait a minute. First of all, Eric, when did you come up with this idea?
About a month ago.
A month ago, and then you told Ira about it right away. He came to mind
first.
Yeah,
because him and I had worked on a couple smaller projects, and so we knew each other from the New York conference. So I knew I could trust him to build something quickly and at a really high level of quality. And so the key was seeing if he liked the idea also, and he did. So then it just moved very, very quickly.
So Ira, how long did it take for you to code this from the time he told you the idea until the time it was launched?
A week and a half, 2 weeks development time. And as Eric said, we're still in an open beta. We actually opened up last Wednesday night. So less than a week that it's been open.
Why did it take so long to develop it?
A week and a half, 2 weeks.
No, I'm just teasing.
Pretty short. It's
a week and a half. You must not have been working overtime. That's pretty cool. So has it received much traction yet? I mean, have people been entering new campaigns yet, or am I the only one?
No, you're definitely not the only one. There have been a few people that have put in campaigns. We've put in a few of ourselves to help seed it, and we have quite a consistent number of new people joining the site every day. And so the way that the site will work is that as people tweet these messages out, new people who have no idea about Bitcoin or this website will see it. Some fraction of them will be drawn to the site, and then it'll sort of grow organically. So right now, as of right now, from last when we launched on Wednesday night, 200,000 beaks have been fed. We call beaks just our fun little cute word for followers. So 200,000 people have seen messages retweeted from people through the site. That's 800 retweets and about 250 average followers per person. So so far 50 Bitcoins have been paid out to the people who have retweeted, and that means at least 50 Bitcoins have been paid in from the advertisers. Cool.
Now, if I want to be an advertiser, I can advertise almost anything acceptable, I guess. And it's not targeted by the audience, right? Because anybody with, it's just by number of followers and number of tweets. It's not specially targeted to any hashtag or anything like that, right?
Yeah. We're relying on the users to target as they wish. So, people's Twitter lists are somewhat personal in that they don't want to just spam them with things. So people will send what messages they feel comfortable sending to their own audience, and so we let our users basically filter out for us. If we see a sponsored ad that we think is just completely outlandish or inappropriate, we'll just delete it. So we don't let just anything on the site, but for the most part, we let people pick and choose and distribute what they feel is good.
Okay, so it's kind of self-regulating. So you pick what you're going to tweet. You're not assigned it. And it doesn't take over your account and automatically tweet for you on your behalf. That's an important point because that's a real uncomfortable feeling when you give some automated system access to your account and you don't know what it's going to spew into your account. But you actually have to do it manually and initiate the tweet each time, right?
Yeah, and there are services out there, not for Bitcoin obviously, but for normal fiat monies that will let you get paid for your tweets. But often they will send things automatically on a routine basis, and you don't really have any control about it. So this really puts all the control both in the sponsor and in the user. And when their interests meet, the exchange will occur.
And you can put in
this is possible without the Bitcoins.
You can put in any budget amount you want and any cost per meal, or what you call it, like cost per 1,000 views or tweets, whatever you want, right? Is there any minimum or maximum?
No minimum, but it's a competitive market. So as it builds, people who put in a small cost per meal will end up on the second or third or fourth page, and obviously they're not incentivizing people to send their message out.
Right.
The higher you pay, the more likely someone is going to send the message to their followers. So it is competitive in that sense, and we think that it lets lots of different advertisers work. If someone has a message that they think is super interesting, they may not need to pay much at all to have it retweeted out, and people might send this out and just earn a couple little tiny fractions of a coin, and that's something that you can do with Bitcoin, and you can't do it with dollars.
Okay. Now, I noticed the tweets. Do they always have to contain the hashtag feedzthebirds and the link? Is that required part of the content of the tweet?
Yeah, Ira, you want to take this one?
Yeah. Right now, we're putting in probably more hashtags to identify our campaign tweets than in the long run we'll want to, and that's just to create so people know when a tweet is ours, and that they know to look at the campaign and really just get used to the format of these retweets rather than a normal tweet.
Right. But I mean, as an advertiser, do I have to have all those hashtags in there, or no?
Yeah, the system adds them. So the way that creating a campaign works is you've got 77 characters out of the total 140 that Twitter allows you. We fill in the rest with the URL to link to your campaign, so people can check whether it's got funds, general hashtags labeling it as a retweet for Bitcoin, that sort of thing, and then those 77 you fill in with your ad text.
Your ad message. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, we call it the boilerplate, and so it's appended to each tweet as it goes out. And as Ira said, right now it's more extensive than it will be in the future. We'll trim it down because we realize that with Twitter every little character is important. So we have a few ways to trim it down a bit as we progress. But for right now, it's important that we explain things more clearly. So that's why we're using more space with the boilerplate.
Yeah. Later you can trim it down to hashtag FZB or something, 3 letters. Yeah. As long as there's a way for people to figure out what it is. Or a short link, something that's shorter. To give them more characters. That seems like a good idea.
Yeah, if we really try and push it, we can probably get the boilerplate to just about half of what it is now. But there will always be a boilerplate there, and that's what helps kind of virally spread these out. Right.
Okay. Cool. So you guys who are watching live, if you happen to be watching live right now, you can send your questions to for Eric and Ira and I to email feedback@onlyoneTV.com, all spelled out, feedback@onlyoneTV.com, right now live on the air, and we can answer your questions. Or you can send an SMS text message to the USA number +1 646 580 0099. You see it right there on the screen. 646 580 0099. If you're watching live, you can send the message right now, and we'll get it and answer it live. If you're not watching live, then send us a question. Maybe we'll try and address it on the next show. So let me take a break real quick now and thank our sponsors, who we appreciate very much for sponsoring the Bitcoin Show and bringing us to you every day. And they are Mt. Gox, the #1 Bitcoin exchange site, the automated exchange site where you can buy and sell Bitcoin 24/7, completely automated from any place on earth, from the comfort of your easy chair. Just go to mtgox.com, mtgox.com. They deal in more than 16 currencies. So it doesn't matter if you're using US dollars, euros, Canadian dollars, doesn't matter what it is, Japanese yen. You can deal directly with mtgox.com, buy Bitcoin there. You can sell Bitcoin there. Of course, it's the de facto place we look to find out what the value of a Bitcoin is today. They have super sophisticated security with, they call it two-factor authentication with this thing called a YubiKey. It's a tiny little USB dongle you plug into your computer, and it gives you a password good for 2 seconds. So very, very secure. Check it out, mtgox.com. Thanks for sponsoring the Bitcoin Show. And the Thank You Economy by New York Times best-selling author Gary Vaynerchuk, otherwise known on Twitter as Gary V. He's a serial entrepreneur, very famous in the world of social media, and speaking of Twitter, and Twitter, Facebook, and all that. And this book is his second book, and it's basically the Bible on how to use social media, Web 2.0, all these new technologies to bring your business back to an era of personal hand-holding customer service, like the good old days. And it's scalable, so it doesn't matter if your business is small or medium-sized or large, how to do social media right. Everybody knows the value of social media, and they know they should be using Twitter to help their business, but 99% does it wrong. They just don't know what they're doing. So read this book. This really is the Bible on that. It's called. You can go to thankyoueconomybook.com and check it out. And memorydealers.com. Our buddy Roger Ver is the founder of memorydealers.com. I call him Bitcoin Jesus. He's a huge Bitcoin evangelist. Yeah, I'm sure you know of him. Memorydealers.com is famous also for having the largest inventory of fiber optic network devices, routers, switches, cables, mining gear, all types of memory and peripherals you can imagine. So check it out, memorydealers.com. Thanks, Roger Ver, for supporting us. So,
Roger's also got an ad on Feeds the Birds, so if you want to tweet that and get some money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's got an ad on there already. Perfect. See, everybody supports everybody. I love that. That's great. I didn't see that. So he's got one on there already. Very cool. Oh, there it is. The very second one. Roger Ver's fantastic Bitcoin interview, Libertarian News. Yeah, that's right. He was interviewed on the radio network that he buys ads on. So
actually, I'm not sure if that one is placed by him, but that's about him. But he had one for the physical Casascius coins that he's selling on his site for the for credit card. So that one might have run out of funds now.
Oh, okay. It's ever changing. Cool.
Ever changing.
So do you think that this has a potential of becoming a huge thing?
Well, we have a maximum user base of a few hundred million people. But of course, we're limited to the number of people who understand and use Bitcoin.
And Twitter.
So we see it as, in the near term, it's only going to be useful for people who already understand what a Bitcoin is and enjoy using them and spending them. Mm-hmm. But we're hopeful that as these campaigns are tweeted around, some fraction of people will be curious, and if they see the Bitcoin word around, they'll click on the link and they'll see that they can earn these things if they retweet, and that might help drive a little bit of Bitcoin adoption.
Yeah.
Them being able to see this thing that they can do with Bitcoin that they can't do with normal dollars.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can see also people wanting to learn about it because of their location. For example, we have a virtual. Not virtual. Ed always calls him a virtual employee, but he's actually a real employee. You have a remote employee who lives in Namangan, Uzbekistan. So if you live in Uzbekistan or somewhere Tanzania or something, where there's a difficulty with banking or currency, or there's the only currency that's legally allowed to be used is the Uzbek som. So there could be issues like that. It's difficult to earn money on the internet, if you have access to the internet, all you need is an unlimited internet account, and you can sit there and create a Twitter account, create a Twitter following, you know, be a Twitter journalist or whatever it is. And, you know, like there's a lot of people who've done that. There's one called, what was that one called? Something like Young Geek or something, youngnerdgeek.com or something like that. Anyway, somebody in Asia who just, you know, created this microblogging empire really just by being a Twitter journalist. And if you build a big following, you could actually do this. You could actually take these ads and you know, tweet them, and it's fair game in that you are labeling them as paid. So their following knows that they're paid. So there's nothing misleading about it. It's full disclosure. They are getting paid for that. But so what? You know, everything has ads. You know, they're not paying to read the quality content. So anyway, the point is you can make a business out of this, and in countries, especially in countries where there are banking or currency issues, and it's hard to get a job anywhere else.
Yeah, in Nigeria, there's a company called NairatWeets.net, and Nigerians can tweet their sponsored messages. So in a way, it's a little similar to Feeds the Birds, but because of all the problems with normal currencies, this company has to pay out with like reward points and prizes from the website, and still they have like tens of thousands of people using their system only to earn some of these rewards from the site. So clearly people, you know, enjoy having access to a way to sponsor their own content, whether it's an advertisement on their own blog, which lets them earn money from the content they put out, or an advertisement in their tweets that lets them earn money from the content that they put out through that channel. Bitcoin really allows it to work a lot more smoothly.
Yeah, in other countries like that, circumstances are very different than they are here. They may have cell phones with unlimited SMS, and they can use Twitter that way, and they have you know, all the time in the world, but they may or may not have internet or sketchy internet or their currency issues. What's the name of the site you just mentioned in Nigeria?
It's NairatWeet, Naira tweets.net.
Naira tweets.net. We'll put that in the show notes so that people searching for that will also find this show and find out about Feeds the Birds, because they can, I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're in Nigeria or Uzbekistan. You can set up a Bitcoin account. You can go to mountgox.com. In fact, I'm going to do a little how-to video, how to buy and use Bitcoin, you know, 2.0, which basically means set up a Mt. Gox account and use that as your wallet for now, until, you know, the next generation will be these new apps. But anyway, if you go to mountgox.com and create a new account, you're done. You have a Bitcoin wallet that's online and secure. So it doesn't matter where you are.
BT Cinch is another
BT Cinch, of course. BT Cinch too. I know, there's so many now. But yeah, that's right. So anyway, it just takes 2 seconds. You set up with a Bitcoin account, and on these sites like BT Cinch and Mt. Gox, they can convert them to the currency of their choice when and, you know, if and when they need to, without a whole lot of you know, banking pain involved. So they can. It seems like a really good. You might get most of your audience, like most of your tweeters, could come from these, you know, second and third world countries, and marketers can be from anywhere.
Another interesting feature, I think that this site, you're absolutely right, we might get people from all sorts of countries around the world. You also actually don't need to have a wallet set up to use Feeds the Birds for the first time. Because it's plugged into BT Cinch, it uses it for payouts and also to fund campaigns. You can actually get paid out via an email address.
That's right, I forgot.
You know, if you stumble on this from Twitter and just are curious about it and you know, sign in with your Twitter account and enter your email address, you can retweet and get paid without ever first learning, you know, what a Bitcoin address is, how the transactions work, and then you've got some in your account. It's like, you know, I gave you a quarter, now you are motivated to learn what a quarter is.
What can I do with it? Right, exactly. That's right, I forgot, because I did test this out with you the other day, Ira, and I noticed, because it says no account on file, and you can click change, and then it says enter your Bitcoin address or your email address, which is brilliant because, of course, if they don't know what a Bitcoin address is, then they do know what an email address is. So I put in my email address, and then, of course, BT Cinch sends me an email saying you have Bitcoin. So it just sends it out through BT Cinch, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's integrated with that, which is great because that helps promote BT Cinch as well. And that's so easy because you just follow the link and boom, now it's in your BT Cinch account, and you can do with it what you may. That's very clever. And now is there a way to redeem it directly for munchies?
Well, you know, that's the beautiful thing about money. Once it's in your account, you can spend it on whatever you want. You can, you know, go to BitMunchies and buy yourself some popcorn or whatever you like.
Directly from BT Cinch. Dad, do I get a discount if I use BT Cinch Bitcoins as opposed to generic Bitcoins?
We're actually working on a 10% discount for people who check out with BT Cinch funds versus...
Oh, there you go. So, yep, they can tweet for Fritos in Nigeria or what?
Yeah, hey Bruce, to give you a little idea of how popular this is just in a country like Nigeria, the site, Naira Tweets, has 580,000 Twitter users signed up with them.
580,000 Twitter users.
580,000 in Nigeria using Twitter, using this service. So
wow. Oh, and that's what I wanted to ask you. You said they don't pay in money; they pay in prizes or something. What kind of prizes do they give you?
You sort of earn like you earn like credits with their store, and then you can swap it out for some prizes, or it's kind of confusing.
Are they listing the names of the tweeters? Are there Twitter handles there?
Yeah, if you go to the site, it shows there's a little roll on the bottom that has some of their recent people, and you can go and...
Okay. So I'm going to give you an idea, Eric, and then you can give it to Ira, and in a week and a half he can have it done. You need to suck in all those Twitter handles into your database, and then spew out one by one a welcoming message and @ to those tweeters and say, if you like this site, try Feed the Birds. Because we pay actual money.
The largest obstacle, obviously, is just people who have no idea what a Bitcoin is. So we will at all times be limited by the extent of the Bitcoin marketplace, but hopefully we can help push that out further.
Yeah.
Well,
as it grows, we'll benefit.
I think the way the system is set up is really ideal for people getting their first Bitcoin. You know, all you need is a Twitter account, an email address, and you've got your first Bitcoin or however much. But it allows people to get their hands on it with no technical knowledge.
Right. Well, the barrier of entry, you've just dropped it away completely. So it's just basically cost them nothing to try it. The thing is that once they try it, they have to be able to get that converted into something that they can spend for food or something. You know what I mean? Like. And that's actually a good question. So if I'm in Nigeria and I tweet full time for a living, which really that is enough for possibly for a living over there. If you're tweeting for a living in Nigeria and you're getting paid in Bitcoin in my BT Cinch, how hard or easy is it going to be for a Nigerian to get Nigerian money from Bitcoin? That's an obstacle right there.
The first smart Nigerian will set up an exchange in Nigeria.
There you go.
And then the
BT Cinch needs a branch there. You need to open a branch.
You know, we use exchanges as middlemen. It's like crypto exchange needs a branch there.
Yeah, the other guys do. Anybody, just as long as there's some. Actually, any entrepreneur in Nigeria who's watching this, set up an exchange site. You've got 100,000 people who could use it.
Actually, I think crypto exchange can already send out withdrawals in Nigerian currency to a Nigerian bank.
They do? Are you serious? I thought you were kidding.
No, crypto exchange can send out over 120 currencies to basically any country that doesn't have a U.S. embargo.
Wow.
So, sorry, North Korea, but almost every other country crypto exchange can send out to. So I don't know if the Nigerian currency is included in that 120, but it may well be. And in that case, someone in Nigeria who had accumulated some of these Bitcoins with the tweets could absolutely sell them for dollars and then withdraw as Nigerian currency to their Nigerian bank. So maybe the Nigerian exchange is already obsolete.
So this is a question for crypto exchange, I guess, for Ken over there. But which you're involved in that too, Eric, right? You're involved with crypto exchange. But
Yeah, definitely.
That's why you know so much about it, of course.
Yes.
So
I joined crypto about a month ago.
okay, so they send it to these other countries. What, as a bank wire to that bank in that country? Is that how it works?
It's not technically a bank wire, but it goes to their bank. So you can think of it like a bank wire.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
there's a $15 fee to do any withdrawal to any bank, and that replaces the wire fee or EFT fees, that kind of thing.
Okay, so do they have to have an account at that bank, or they can just walk in with ID and retrieve the funds?
Whatever, if the Nigerian has a normal Nigerian bank account, it's likely that crypto exchange can send Nigerian currency to that bank
directly to that bank.
If it's one of the 120 currencies that we have supported right now.
Okay.
Which I'm not sure of.
Okay, you hear that, everybody in Nigeria? Now you don't have to do those spam fraud emails anymore. You switch over to tweet marketing. You probably make more money anyway.
We also need to get in contact with Kim Kardashian, because she's kind of like the biggest tweeter in the universe in terms of what she can pull in.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there knows her personally, we'd love to have her as a spokesperson or something.
Okay.
But she makes probably like, I don't know, 20 grand on a tweet.
Wow. So
if you go to
check out this
sponsoredtweets.com.
We need to have a really big campaign in order to appeal to her, though, because we're going to
reach a few million people, though.
Yeah, so actually you're right. We just have to have a big budget for a campaign.
Yeah.
Because one tweet would wipe it out unless you got that much in there. So okay, Roger of our memory dealers, we have to put a $100,000 campaign in there, and then and then we'll get Ms. Kardashian to one tweet, boom, it's done.
Yeah, I'm not sure her followers are our main target market right now, but certainly that would boost the business. If you go to sponsoredtweets.com, they're kind of the biggest people in this field, and they have a lot of the celebrities that send out these sponsored tweets, and these people have 10 million followers, and they pull in 5 figures for a single tweet. Wow. So there's definitely money in it.
Amazing.
And,
sponsoredtweets.com. Okay, cool.
Sponsoredtweets.com.
Yeah.
But of course, everything that site does is held back by having to stick with dollars and bank accounts, and they're limited to the U.S.
Yeah.
So, as well as they've done with getting celebrities on board, they're always going to be stuck in a dollar world, and we'll see if they wake up and realize that.
Yeah, the internet is a global network, and so is Bitcoin. They go hand in hand. I mean, when I first heard this, I knew it was a good idea, but it's actually a much better idea than I realized, because of all these things. Like you say, the banking, PayPal, all that, those networks are so antiquated and limited and regulated and expensive. This is so much better. Completely independent of where you are.
If you look at sponsored tweets, I believe they also use a kind of point system. Where you buy points or are paid in points for tweeting, and I'm not sure how it works specifically with the celebrities, but I think the reason why all these places are using point systems is because they can't manage the funds in a scalable enough increment.
Oh.
And so really what it's allowing us to do this, the characteristic of Bitcoin that allows us to do this is micropayments. So you can get paid out, for 4 followers, and it really opens this possibility of getting paid for retweets up to people who have a normal, average kind of Twitter account, versus somebody who's got millions and can get paid in whole dollars for a campaign.
Yeah, if you have 200 Twitter followers, I don't think you can get paid through some of these main.
That makes sense too.
Websites.
For the average everyday person, like Eric, who only has 100 followers, you can actually get paid. Because it makes sense, because the nature of Bitcoin, the 8 decimal places, which if you got 1/10,000th of a penny or whatever, it's not going to be able to pay you anything. You're going to have to do quite a bit. But you can actually get 1/10,000th of a Bitcoin and send it to you, and you receive it.
Yeah, we currently have a minimum withdrawal of 0.01 Bitcoin. So
a bit cent.
As long as you can get to 1 bit penny or bit cent, then you can withdraw. But there's no technological barrier to making it one single. millionth of a Bitcoin or something. It's just a transaction fee issue.
Well, you could go further with that if you wanted to. If Ira put a little bit more time into it, but a bit cent will go a long way in Nigeria.
We'll see.
I mean, seriously, you can eat a meal, probably for what, a couple bit cent for real. I mean, people can really live on very little. They live a simple life, and that money goes a long way in a country like that. So
yeah, well, something as revolutionary as Bitcoin is going to create lots of wealth in interesting places that we normally see it.
Yeah.
And so you could expect something like some rural Nigerian who just has a little netbook and something, figuring out how to earn a huge amount of money.
I can see he'll be the guy who runs the exchange over there, and he'll have like sweatshops with everybody running on little $99 netbooks, just tweeting 24 hours a day tweeting.
Just like the Chinese World of Warcraft gold factories, right?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. You said a bit cent is actually can be a lot. I was at first struck me a little odd, but you think about it. There. What did you say, Eric? 400 million users on Twitter.
It's between 2 and 400 million, I believe.
Well, I mean, let's go with 300 million users. If each one of them gets 1 bit cent, that's 3 million Bitcoins that are now held by this Twitter Bitcoin consortium. So the potential to affect Bitcoin prices and demand is actually huge, just because of the size of these markets, that even with micropayments, it can have a real impact.
Yeah. And even if you have, I mean, in some of these countries you can get dinner for 20 cents, US. So that would be, what would that be? 10 or whatever, 5 bit cents or something.
8 Bitcoins.
Something like, yeah. So, I mean, every Bitcoin holder, no matter how small their account, is another Bitcoin user, which has, who contributes to the Bitcoin community in ways, I mean, maybe not financially as much, but in other ways, because every user is a beta tester, every user has, feedback, and also is a person who is potential of word of mouth and spreading the word. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to having more users of Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the more they understand it, just one more person who understands how this works, even if it's 1,000th of a Bitcoin or 1 bit cent, when they understand it, they're like, wow, if I can send a bit cent, then I can send a Bitcoin. If I can send a Bitcoin, I can send 100 Bitcoin. And there's still no fee. I mean, once they get it, it'll spread like wildfire. More evangelists are born.
And someone in some rural place with a few thousand Twitter followers, they could very easily pay for their dinner by sending a tweet out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this can be very much be in the interest of the sponsor. If he's trying to target some certain group, this is very beneficial for all the parties. At some point on our site, we're going to need to categorize more by location and type. So there will be some segmentation eventually, but for right now, it's just kind of all on the homepage.
Yeah, like if somebody in China has 1 million followers, but they're all Chinese and they read Chinese, but But anyway, for now, it's still good. The idea that well, if they're in English, that's pretty much the universal language for the most part. But what was I going to say? Just the idea that people work hard on their Twitter accounts. They tweet. Some people take the time, like I try to say something profound, something really interesting and educational, and I do it in a spirit of sharing. This is really good information, and I want to share it with the world. Kind of in that way. And so if you put energy and thought and intention behind what you're tweeting, it's not just a machine to make money. Of course, I've never done sponsored tweets, so it's definitely not about money. But yeah, like I have 12,500 followers or something like that. So I think it's absolutely fair and justified to capitalize on that, to do a sponsored tweet once in a while. your audience, as long as they know, that's what it is. There's nothing misleading. You don't want to do an ad and then make it seem like it's not. As long as it's full disclosure, this is a sponsored tweet. That's important to me. But as long as it's full disclosure, it's sponsored, then hey, that's the price of getting the good content.
And it's a naturally balancing mechanism. So you're right. People do work and spend time and effort to build up their follower list. It's something of value to have these followers.
Right.
And someone who damages that privilege by spamming them with sponsored ads can only do that in the short term, and people will start, because it's very easy to leave and not follow someone anymore.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I think with our site, probably a lot of people worry about spam and issues like that. But if you think about the incentive structure and how people will respond to someone who's spamming, those people will tend to lose followers.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a careful balance that the user of that the Twitter guy has to take care of.
Exactly. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to do too many, too often. But I love the fact that on Feeds the Birds, it's done manually. So I have full control over exactly what I tweet and how often and when and all that. So I don't really like the automated systems where it's going to tweet automatically every few hours. I think Twitter, my followers would really not appreciate that, especially if they have it set up to notify their phone and their phone actually like rings. Some people do. I mean, literally, I tweet something and they reply right away, always because they have Twitter notifications on and they don't follow very many people. So literally, when I tweet something, their phone rings. And that you have to respect that. I mean, there are people like that. That don't follow. They just follow a few key people and they have notifications on. When somebody sends me, an email or an @ reply, I'll get a notification. But anyway, the point is that some people do. They really, really care about what you say enough to have notifications on. So if they get notified of something that's a sponsored tweet too frequently, they are going to unfollow you for sure, because you don't want to annoy them.
Yeah, and also it's not just a question of whether you tweet a message or not, but you can choose which ones you tweet.
That's right.
So
yeah.
Some of them will be relevant for a certain audience, but inappropriate for another. And people can choose to pick the ones that are relevant for their audience. Exactly.
That's another thing I like about Feeds the Birds, because I can go there if it's a message about like Roger Ver's Bitcoin interview. That's something I would tweet anyway. Right. So I may as well get paid for it. So if it's something about Bitcoin or about Ubuntu Linux or free open source software or Android or one of the many things that I do tweet about all the time, my followers already know that I tweet about these topics. And they follow me because I tweet about these topics, especially if I can find something in there that I would probably tweet about anyway. That's perfect, because then it just goes right in with what I would do.
And there's also a very blurry line between just content and an advertisement, because I've used this own system to send out like an article that I thought was interesting, and so I'll pay a few bit cents to place this on our site. And I'm not expecting any return from that, but it's something that I want other people to see. So I can put it on the site, I can set a low CPM number, and if other people find it interesting, they earn a little bit, and it helps the message get out to thousands of people. So if you think about like, a charity could do this very well, and they can send out a message that they thought was important. We also have a method on the site to show the funding address for that campaign. Publicly, so people who see the campaign can see the address that they can fund it with, and that means that people who see the tweet can visit that and say, "Oh, I support this message too. Let me donate a coin to the cause," and then that all goes into the pool and continues to distribute it out.
Oh, you mean it displays the Bitcoin address of the campaign?
If you want, it's an option. It's just a checkbox, say display the address publicly, and then anyone can pay in to keep funding the campaign.
Speaking of charities, I mean, do you have any ability to, like, what if somebody puts a sponsored tweet on there that says, donate to the Red Cross or something? It's not the Red Cross. You look for that, right? If it's a charity, you're going to have to do some verification and make sure it's really representing the real charity, right?
Well, if someone puts an ad that we clearly see as fraud, we'll take it off. But people always need to take responsibility for their own actions on the internet. So if you see a tweet that says donate here to the Red Cross and you click it and it takes you to some Ukrainian URL asking for your money, first of all,
Don't
that's
retweet it.
troll, and second, yeah, don't tweet that. Vet these things yourself. Always be careful of what you do, and if you see a Red Cross thing, in all cases beyond just our site, you need to take care.
redcross.frod.ru. Then probably that's not the right one.
And we encourage, because we're using Twitter as our kind of publishing platform. If you find spam related to any of our accounts or anything like that, report it to Twitter as well. Tell us, and we'll do what we can to remove it from our system. But if you tell Twitter, then Twitter will also do what they can to flag that user.
Right. And the advertiser also has to look clearly at the message and make sure that it's a message that they can stand behind, at least.
Right. We in our terms of use, we have a little clause there that says basically if we find an account that's clearly spam, and this is purely according to our judgment, we will simply cancel the account and we'll donate the funds that have been deposited to a charity or perhaps to the other sponsors or something. So what that does is it introduces risk for anyone who wants to rip people off. To fund the account on our site, they have to donate Bitcoins. So that's their risk. If they do that and we catch them, they lose their money. So we think that is another natural way that will act as a disincentive for people to put that stuff out.
That's good. That's smart. Have you had any negative kickback from or feedback from anybody that just is opposed to anybody doing any kind of commercial advertising on Twitter?
Yeah, there's always people that are opposed to anything that has to do with profit, business, and advertising, and any system that forwards those initiatives will have critics. So I'm not sure we can do much about them. There are people who think that Twitter is sacred and there should never be any advertisements. They fail to see the purpose of an advertisement in society. It's not this evil plague that you have to deal with all the time. Advertisements are ways for people to get their messages out. And when you can monetize the content that you're putting out through Twitter, it encourages you to put out better content to grow your Twitter list because suddenly it's worth more. So while on the surface, we're all kind of annoyed at ads and stuff, there's actually a very important purpose that they serve. And as long as people aren't abusing that, people shouldn't, have a serious problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I always feel like as long as it's clearly identified as an advertisement. One thing that bothers me, one of my pet peeves is these, the search engines. I forgot whether it was Bing or Google or one of them the other day, but I was looking at it and I was going, how they have the sponsored links at the top, and they have them like in red or pink or something. I'm like, is that pink getting fainter and fainter and fainter? I have to close the blinds and turn off the lights to tell, is that white or pink? It's almost like they're trying to make it blend in so you really can't tell which ones are sponsored and which ones aren't. And that bothers me. I think it should be clearly labeled advertisement, and that's cool. I mean, if I want to click it, it's relevant, I'll click it. But I don't like it when advertising is disguised as content. That's one of my real pet peeves. But as long as it's full disclosure, I'm getting paid to tell you this message, you feel free to skip it, then I think it's fair game. And the best content out there on any kind of media is monetized. Of course, it has sponsorship because the best content has value, and why shouldn't the people who create it get rewarded financially? I mean, that's what capitalism is about. So
and some people there is value in seeing an ad that is relevant to you.
Right.
There's value in knowing about a service that you didn't know about or a product that you might want. So people with Twitter accounts who send out these advertisements, the ones who do it effectively, will actually be sending information to their followers who may want that information.
Yeah.
So the responsibility lies with the person who controls their own follower list, and if they abuse that privilege, their followers will tend to leave.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. What I would do is I'll be watching to see if I find things on there that I would probably tweet anyway. I'm just going to go ahead and tweet them, and why not? If why not get paid?
Yep.
Who says there's no such thing as a free lunch? It's possible. It could be a win-win. So,
Yep.
Well, thank you guys so much. Bravo. I'm really, congratulations on another smart venture for both of you involved in so many projects. They all overlap. I was saying this Bitcoin world is kind of this incestuous world where everybody gets involved in so many different things, but it's all good. It's so exciting.
Thanks. Really appreciate being here.
Sure.
Thanks for having us, Bruce.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks for joining us.
All right, see ya.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you same time tomorrow. Ciao. Is the number up here, and obviously the thing that's unique about this is that it's in Bitcoin, so it's not through dollars and banks and PayPals and all that stuff. It's actually Bitcoin, so it's much more versatile. You can be in any part of the world and do this without any government or bank's permission or anything else. So is this number up in the corner of each campaign? It says like 0.0909 Bitcoin. Is that the price per thousand appearance, or is that the total budget for the campaign?
You want to answer, Ira?
Well, like if I'm looking at the site right now and I see, I guess these are ad campaigns, right? In blue, the number of Bitcoin in blue, what does that represent?
You're on the front page, right, Bruce?
Yeah. Am I the wrong
And you're
page?
logged in?
No, I didn't log in.
If you're not logged in, you're seeing the cost per milli. If you do log in, it will count the number of followers you have and calculate what you would get paid. So I think in your case, you've got about 12,000 followers, so you would get 12 times the cost per mil.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So that's the cost per mil, and then when you're logged in, it'll calculate however many based on your followers. Okay. Cool. Now I did try this the other day. I didn't lots of followers. It's like any other media. You can actually insert an ad, a paid tweet, so you get paid to tweet. I know, like Ashton Kutcher probably would get $10,000 a tweet. I'm sure they would offer him at least that to because you have so many followers. But so advertisers can put in an ad campaign, and what they set the price per tweet or price per view or something.
Yeah, they basically have control over how they want to do it. So. Just as in Google's AdWords, where an advertiser can set a budget and they set how much they want to pay per click. Same with Feeds of Birds. The advertiser just makes his ad campaign, puts as many Bitcoins in it as he wants. There's no minimum or maximum. And then he sets his CPM, or cost per meal, which in this case is the price he will pay per 1,000 people that see the message. So if one Twitter user has 1,000 followers, he will tweet the message to those 1,000, and he gets the full CPM figure, and it's all set by the advertiser. So basically, they can choose how much they want to incentivize people to send out their message.
Okay. So when I'm looking at the site now, and how do I
through Twitter? And there's various ways of doing it, but none of them are very efficient. And combining Bitcoin and Twitter works really nicely. So when I figured it out, I have absolutely no development experience, so I don't know how to code anything. So I went to Ira because I knew that he was very skilled at this stuff, and he just he liked the idea too, and so he busted it out in a couple weeks of development, and so now it's released in an open beta, and it's less than a month after I think I contacted him about it.
Okay, so and now the idea behind it's Feed Birds or Z Birds, feed FEED birds.com, and the idea behind it is basically paid ad tweets. So if you're Twitter, you only have 100 followers. I mean, don't you get more than that when you create a free account? Well, anyway, no, I'm just teasing. But no, when you have if you
have a few more after today.
I know, I'm just teasing. What is it? At Erick Vorhees?
Yeah, at Erick Voorhees.
Oh, there you go. So you just got 10,000 followers right there. So, but anyway, but the idea is, and I've seen this before a while back, where if you have lots and lots Today's episode of The Bitcoin Show is brought to you by Mt. Gox and Thank You Economy Book and MemoryDealers.com. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Bitcoin Show. I'm Bruce Wagner, as I'm sure you know. Today we have a very interesting new Bitcoin venture represented, and it's called Feed the Birds. My guests are Ira Miller and Erick Vorhees, co-founders, right, of Feed the Birds. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for having us, Bruce.
Sure. So, Ira, you're in Denver?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, and Ira, if you don't know, if you don't already know, is involved in many little entrepreneurial ventures, and small and large. Bitmunchies is the first major one, and BT Cinch, and a couple other little. You got a lot of projects going on, don't you?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to be done in the Bitcoin world.
And Erick, where are you joining us from?
I'm in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, but I'm from Colorado originally.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
So
but you guys didn't meet in Colorado?
No, it's just a coincidence. I met him at the New York Bitcoin conference a couple months ago.
The Bitcoin conference
in that
World
very
Expo.
office where you are.
Yeah. Oh, right here in the office. Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Great. So, when did this idea of Feed the Birds come about? Who came up with the idea? And when?
I came up with the idea, I think it was about a month ago, and I'm not really a huge Twitter person, but I use it occasionally, and I have like 100 followers. But obviously Twitter has sort of taken over the world in the same way that Facebook did a few years ago, and it's just very fast and quick, and obviously catching on, has a few hundred million users, and so it just something clicked, and I realized that people advertise